In the opulent heart of Beverly Hills, where wealth draped secrets in velvet silence, a mansion stood as a monument to ambition realized. Its marble facade, framed by rose-lined gardens and towering palms swaying under a starless sky, was the home of Janice Combs, the 84-year-old matriarch of a dynasty forged by her son, Sean Diddy Combs. His name was a beacon of power, pulsing through the arteries of music, fashion, and global influence, a man who rose from the gritty streets of Harlem to command red carpets, boardrooms, and the adoration of millions. The mansion, with its crystal chandeliers and gold-framed portraits, was a shrine to this legacy, a sanctuary where a proud mother basked in her son's ascent to untouchable stardom. Photographs lined the walls, Diddy with presidents, pop icons, and titans of industry, each image a testament to an empire built on charisma and control. But beneath this polished surface, a darkness festered, a secret so insidious it threatened to unravel not just a man, but an entire system that thrived in the shadows of fame. On a moonless night in June 2025, at 3:17 a.m., the silence shattered. Black SUVs pierced the darkness, gliding through the mansion's wrought iron gates like harbingers of truth. The FBI, armed with a warrant for a routine financial audit, descended on the estate, their mission seemingly mundane: to trace the money trails of Diddy's Bad Boy Entertainment, chasing whispers of offshore accounts and tax evasion. They expected ledgers, bank statements, perhaps a paper trail of greed, nothing more. But what they uncovered was no ordinary scandal. It was a vault of horrors, a meticulously concealed machine that preyed on the vulnerable under the guise of art, philanthropy, and cultural triumph. This was not the story of one man's fall, but the unraveling of a conspiracy woven into the very fabric of America's entertainment industry, a web so vast it implicated power structures across borders and decades. The mansion, bathed in the cold glow of moonlight, stood as a fortress of secrets. Its grandeur was a lie, its silence a shield. As the FBI breached its gates, they stepped into a world where fame was a weapon, and truth was buried deep beneath layers of power and privilege. This is the story of a raid that tore through the veneer of celebrity, exposing a system of exploitation sustained by money, influence, and silence. This is the night the spotlight burned through the shadows, revealing an abyss that could no longer hide. The mansion loomed like a citadel, its opulence a stark contrast to the darkness that enveloped it. Inside, the air was heavy with the scent of polished wood, lavender, and wealth. Crystal chandeliers cast prisms of light across marble floors, their reflections dancing like specters. Walls lined with gold-framed photographs told a story of triumph, Diddy shaking hands with world leaders, laughing with pop stars, standing beside his mother in a portrait that radiated pride. A mother and son bound by success, or so it seemed. A glass case held a Grammy, its sheen dulled by the weight of the moment, while platinum records gleamed like trophies of a bygone era. But the silence was oppressive, the mansion holding its breath as if guarding a secret it could not release. The FBI moved with surgical precision, their boots whispering across the polished floors. Flashlights cut through the darkness, illuminating relics of an empire, awards, contracts, a leather-bound guestbook signed by names that shaped culture. The team's mission was clear: to unearth financial records, bank statements, anything tying Diddy's Bad Boy Entertainment to offshore accounts or tax evasion. But as they rifled through desks and cabinets, the mansion seemed to watch, its walls closing in with secrets untold. The air grew thick with tension, as if the very house knew what lay hidden. In the library, a faint draft stirred a velvet curtain, catching the attention of the team. A hairline crack in the oak paneling behind a towering bookshelf gleamed under a flashlight's beam, a detail absent from the 2006 architectural plans filed with the Los Angeles Department of Building and Safety. The discovery was electric, a pulse of dread that rippled through the agents. They pried open the bookshelf, revealing a steel elevator, its cold, unmarked surface a stark betrayal of the mansion's warmth. No alarms, no cameras, its existence had been erased from every record, a ghost in the blueprints. The elevator descended, its hum a heartbeat in the void. The air grew colder, the darkness thicker, as the doors slid open to reveal a 20-centimeter thick steel vault, its biometric lock glowing red like a warning. The fingerprints required to open it matched no one in the Combs family, raising a chilling question: who held the key to this hidden world? With a breaching tool, the team forced the vault, and fluorescent lights snapped on, revealing a sterile chamber that felt more like a crypt than a basement. The air was cold, clinical, the silence broken only by the faint buzz of ventilation. This was no ordinary room, it was a fortress within a fortress, a sanctuary for secrets too dark to see the light. The chamber was divided into 3 zones, each a testament to meticulous planning, document storage, digital equipment, and secure lockers. Shelves held binders labeled with chilling precision: private, do not remove, classified, restricted access. The first binder, 400 pages thick, was a catalog of horrors, detailing 70 young artists, aged 12 to 14. Each page was a dossier of cold efficiency, stark photographs taken in a room with black floors and white walls, lit harshly like a prison cell, biographical data, school records, guardian details scratched out in red ink, and a selection code marking each child as a commodity. One file labeled a girl's compliance as high, another noted a boy as ideal for casting. The words seared the pages, transforming dreams of stardom into a nightmare of exploitation. The photos, with their identical backdrops and haunted expressions, suggested a system that thrived on control, not creativity. The team uncovered 30 invitations to private gatherings, their titles dripping with euphemism: Night of Discovery, Internal Casting, The Party of Light. Each bore a QR code and the logo of the Hoppier Foundation, a nonprofit Diddy had championed as a haven for young artists from marginalized communities. But the invitations were cryptic, listing only dates and times, no addresses, with instructions like no family accompaniment and discretion mandatory. They were not invitations to art, they were summons to a shadow world where innocence was currency. One invitation, dated March 2023, read: Internal casting, 9 p.m. Ensure compliance. No guardians. The words hung like a guillotine, cutting through the pretense of philanthropy. In the digital zone, 4 BitLocker encrypted SSDs and 3 USB drives sat like sentinels, one labeled Panic in jagged Sharpie. A preliminary scan revealed over 700 video files, their thumbnails a glimpse into an abyss, content so horrific it promised prosecution for child exploitation. The team sealed the drives, their hands trembling, their silence louder than any scream. Cash, $320,000, spilled from sneaker boxes, alongside a diamond-encrusted Rolex linked to a 2021 Hollywood burglary and jewelry-matching LAPD reports of elite thefts between 2019 and 2022. A private jet lease, signed by Janice but paid through a Qatar-based arts group, traced $3.8 million to Bad Boy subsidiaries, masked as youth programs. Emails from an account tied to Diddy's alias, Mr. Love 2020, spoke of picking 3 who were obedient and newer, sent to an unknown SB at Pulsine Entertainment, a media company Diddy had bankrolled. The vault was a nerve center, a hub for a machine that thrived in the shadows of fame. The Hoppier Foundation, publicly a beacon, had no record of performances or outreach, its funds flowing from shell companies in the Middle East and Caribbean, labeled Youth Talent Training. Tanya R., the foundation's executive, vanished days after the raid, her last address a vacant lot in a forgotten corner of Los Angeles. Guest lists for the gatherings revealed a hierarchy: VIPs, investors, politicians, media titans, and performers, young artists with no contracts or guardians, funneled through a recruitment pipeline disguised as charity. Emails hinted at other sites, move the group east, suggesting nodes in Miami or New York, each a spoke in a wheel of deception. The raid's scope exploded, transforming a financial probe into a hunt for a transnational network. In Quantico, a task force gathered around a conference table buried under binders, drives, and photos. A whiteboard mapped connections: Diddy, the Hoppier Foundation, foreign accounts, And the elusive SB, the mansion was no home, it was a command center, its bunker a vault for archiving, coordinating, and concealing a machine that operated with chilling precision. The Hoppier Foundation was a facade, its public mission a lie. No performances, no community outreach, just a pipeline for vulnerable youth, funneled into private castings that served a darker purpose. Financial trails led to shell companies in Doha and the Caymans, their payments labeled International Arts Development. Emails revealed events funded by foreign entities, with guest lists stratified into tiers, VIPs with power, organizers in Diddy's inner circle, and young artists labeled as performers but treated as pawns. The invitation's alphanumeric codes corresponded to digital files, each a blueprint for secrecy, guest lists, transportation logistics, risk assessments for exposure. The network's reach was staggering, its genius lying in its shield, Diddy's public persona as a mogul and philanthropist, a symbol of black success, made accusations unthinkable. Lawsuits dismissed as rumors, voices drowned by fame, careers tethered to silence. This was a machine designed to endure. A former bodyguard, now in witness protection, described the mansion as a drop site for secrets too dangerous to expose. Names from Diddy's orbit, celebrities, financiers, even politicians, appeared in photos from the bunker's events, their roles a mystery. Were they complicit, victims, or witnesses? The mansion's owner, Janice Combs, was escorted out, her silence deafening, her legal team claiming ignorance. Neighbors spoke of flickering lights from the estate's lower levels at 2 a.m., of black-tinted SUVs driven by strangers who vanished into the night. The past came into sharp focus, a tapestry of whispers now roaring with truth. A 1999 nightclub shooting, where evidence vanished and Diddy was acquitted, now reeked of cover-up. A car registered to one of his companies left the scene early, reportedly carrying metallic objects, a detail buried in an FBI file now reopened. The 2018 death of Kim Porter, ruled pneumonia but shadowed by her intent to go public with something, felt like a silenced cry. She had emailed her lawyer weeks before, seeking to reopen custody agreements and revise contracts with Diddy, actions now seen as clues to a cover-up. Lawsuits from young artists, alleging coercion, abuse, and psychological manipulation, had been settled in silence, dismissed as baseless. A dancer from a 2018 tour spoke of rules at private events: play along or stay quiet. A young rapper, once signed to Bad Boy, refused a private party and was labeled disrespectful, his career stalled. Each story, once buried, now echoed like a siren, demanding to be heard. The FBI hypothesized a modern mafia, hierarchical and procedural, exploiting minors under the guise of art. The bunker's military-grade security, disabled cameras, encrypted drives, suggested a system backed by technical expertise and powerful protection. Emails mentioning Mr. A shadow figure with the influence to keep the media in line, hinted at a network shielded by untouchables. The question burned: who protected this system, and for how long? Documents dated back to 2007, suggesting a conspiracy that operated for nearly 2 decades, either undetected or ignored. The network's genius was its invisibility, cloaked in the glamour of entertainment, sustained by financial dependencies and fear. Young artists, lured by promises of stardom, found themselves trapped, their silence bought with contracts, funding, or threats. The investigation widened, its tendrils reaching beyond the mansion. The FBI audited properties linked to Diddy's circle, from Miami penthouses to New York studios, each search discreet to avoid tipping off those who might erase evidence. Financial trails led to subsidiaries in Qatar, Dubai, and the Caribbean, their payments masked as cultural programs. A private jet, leased through an arts group, had ferried unnamed passengers to undisclosed locations, its logs encrypted. The Hoppier Foundation's funding, traced to anonymous donors, revealed a web of shell companies, each a thread in a global tapestry of deception. The network structure was chillingly efficient. Invitations bore unique codes, linked to digital files detailing logistics, arrival times, security protocols, even risk assessments for media leaks. The events were not parties but transactions, held in secret venues accessible only to insiders. VIPs, described as investors or special guests, included names from finance, politics, and media, their identities shielded by aliases. Organizers, part of Diddy's inner circle, ensured compliance, while young artists, labeled performers, were funneled through the Hopper Foundation's recruitment pipeline, their dreams of fame twisted into entrapment. The FBI's task force faced a daunting reality. This was no isolated scandal, but a system rivaling history's darkest conspiracies. The bunker's contents suggested a network potentially surpassing Epstein's in scope, implicating not just individuals but entire industries. The entertainment world, long a bastion of glamour, was now a suspect, its silence a form of complicity. Media outlets that once dismissed accusations as rumors now faced scrutiny, their archives combed for overlooked clues. Political figures, linked to the events through cryptic emails, became focal points, their influence a potential shield for the network's architects. The past was no longer silent. The 1999 shooting, Kim Porter's death, the settled lawsuits, they were threads in a tapestry of control. A 2023 email from Mr. Love 2020 to SB referenced a dinner party with instructions to ensure obedience. Another, dated 2021, mentioned Mr. and a media group that needed to stay aligned. These were not isolated incidents but cogs in a machine that operated for decades, its wheels greased by power and privilege. The FBI opened a hotline for victims, receiving 70 calls in 48 hours, dancers, singers, crew members, their voices breaking free from years of fear. One survivor, a former backup dancer, wrote, "I saw things I couldn't name. I thought I was crazy. Now I know I wasn't." Dawn broke over Beverly Hills, but the mansion's glow was gone, its secrets laid bare. News of the raid ignited a firestorm, headlines screaming across screens. Diddy's dark vault exposed, FBI uncovers mansion horror, empire built on lies. Social media became a battleground, hashtags like #DiddyFiles, #ProtectOurKids, and #DarkSideOfFame soaring to the top of trending charts. Unlike past scandals, there was no division, only a unified cry of shock, betrayal, and rage. A young rapper posted, "I skipped that party. Now I know I escaped." A dancer wrote, "I buried those memories for years. Today, I'm not alone." A fan, whose childhood was shaped by Diddy's music, commented, "My heroes are broken. The music feels like a lie." The entertainment industry trembled. Collaborations dissolved, endorsements vanished, and celebrities distanced themselves, their silence a confession. A hotline for victims became a lifeline, with voices pouring in, young artists, crew members, survivors who had carried their pain in silence. The FBI's work pressed on, drives to decrypt, properties to audit, names to unmask. Leaked documents fueled a media frenzy, with networks like CNN and the New York Times chasing leads from former staffers, piecing together a puzzle that spanned 2 decades. Independent journalists claimed access to unreleased files, each revelation peeling back the veneer of an industry complicit in its silence. The mansion, once a symbol of triumph, stood as a tomb of secrets. Its bunker, with its coded dossiers and encrypted horrors, revealed a system sustained by power, money, and silence. Diddy's camp issued denials, calling it a malicious campaign, but the evidence, files, videos, invitations, was undeniable. At a Miami airport, Diddy dodged reporters, his face a mask of defiance. The truth will come out. But the truth was already emerging, a tidal wave no lawyer could stop. His empire, built on charisma and control, was crumbling, its foundations exposed as a lie. The question was no longer whether Diddy broke the law, but how deep the network ran. Who was Mr. How many others profited from the shadows? The FBI hypothesized a conspiracy rivaling history's darkest scandals, potentially surpassing Epstein's in scope. Documents dated back to 2007, suggesting a system that operated for nearly 2 decades, either undetected or ignored. Charges loomed: exploitation, trafficking, money laundering, witness tampering, but the truth was a hydra. One head fell, and others lurked. The investigation was a Pandora's box, its secrets only beginning to spill. As survivors gathered outside the mansion, their candles flickering against a banner reading "No More Silence," America confronted its complicity. Fame had been a shield, blinding the nation to whispers of truth, dismissed lawsuits, cryptic accusations, lives silenced by power. The entertainment industry, long a bastion of glamour, was now a suspect, its silence a form of guilt. Political figures, linked to the events through coded emails, faced scrutiny, their influence a potential shield for the network's architects. Media outlets, once complicit in dismissing accusations, now raced to uncover the truth, their archives combed for overlooked clues. The night of June 2025 changed everything. The spotlight now burned, exposing an abyss where ambition and greed devoured the innocent. The mansion's secrets were a crack in a dam, and the flood was coming. The FBI vowed justice, but the investigation was a journey into the unknown, each discovery a step deeper into the shadows. The nation watched, breathless, as the truth emerged. No vault, no matter how secure, can bury the truth forever. The cries of the silenced would be heard, the empire of lies would fall, and the abyss of power would be laid bare.